All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Let me see who is in the room. Who is in the room? All right. So, welcome to another D Brown Consulting webinar. Let me check my LinkedIn and see. Tell me where you're connecting from, everyone. I am David Brown. I'm connecting from Lagos, Nigeria. Tell me where you are connecting from. Let me just check. Where are you connecting from? Okay. Where are you connecting from? I'm checking you out. Okay. Let me see. So where are you connecting from? Where are you connecting from? I can see. Okay, Enugu, Nigeria. Vincent, yeah, Vincent from Enugu. Hi, Vincent. Great to see you. Great to see you from Enugu. Who else? We have Lukman from Abuja. Hi, Lukman. Hi, Lukman from Abuja. We have Babajide from London. Good, good. So I'm connecting from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm connecting from Lagos, Nigeria. Previous weeks, you'd have seen me connecting from LA, from Dubai, all sorts of places. Back home, I'm back in Lagos. So let's see. What do we have for you today? What do we have for you today? Let us have a look. All right. I'm still getting connections in. Good, good, good. Great to hear from everybody. All right. Okay, so now let me share my screen so we can see what we're going to cover today. So all right, so today we're covering artificial intelligence in financial modeling. So artificial intelligence in financial modeling is what we're covering today. And of course, artificial intelligence has gone global, has gone, I would say, pretty wild. It's pretty powerful what's happening AI wise in these days. So we're going to cover artificial intelligence. Bring your questions coming. Keep your questions coming. I'm looking at my various screens to see how we're doing. All right, let's take it further. So key thing, my role today, key thing for me is I always say that I like to think systems wise. Systems, I think thinking in systems is always very critical, and using tools, using frameworks kind of reduce a lot of cognitive load because everybody is thinking critically, thinking a lot. So if that cognitive load is reduced when we're thinking in frameworks and systems, right? The majority of what we do, we'll be able to cover those when we think like that. Collaboration, I like to collaborate a lot with the best in the world. So whoever the best in the world in what we do, we like to collaborate directly. And me, I'm an Excel. I love Excel. So we're going to be seeing how we're going to kind of test AI and see how good it is now in building models. Yeah. I know it's going to get better and better and better. But then what's your role as a modeler if AI is already building your model? What's your role? Right. So, but it'd be nice to know who is in the audience. But even before that, let me tell you that if you stay till the end, I have a new gift for you. So not the same gift as previous weeks, a new gift for you at the end. If you stay till the end and do one thing, you will get a nice gift at the end, as usual, just like we do it, right? So who is in the audience? Who is in the audience? So I would like you to use the chat a lot so I can identify who is in the audience. I always break you down into three. First one is, are you a finance pro? Are you already a finance professional? maybe you're already a chartered accountant, you're a finance person, you work in finance, you studied finance, or you're actually just working in finance. Maybe you were not in finance before, but now you consider yourself a finance professional and you want to learn. So you're here to learn new trends in modeling and augment your current knowledge. Is that why you're here? Finance professionals, I will really look at the data and see who is here. So that's the reason, first reason you're here. You're a finance professional, want to learn more. 2, you're not a finance professional. You're not a finance professional. You're maybe a student, gig worker, or just a non-finance person that wants to break into finance, right? You want to move into finance and start earning money. That's number 2. Number 3 is you probably a top exec. So you're a top exec, you basically manage maybe finance people or whoever, but you're a top exec, which means you want your organization to grow. So you want to see, okay, which finance skill sets do I need so that I can start making better data-driven decisions as a top exec. So which one are you, please? Very important. Are you finance pro, 1? Are you not a finance pro, want to move into finance modeling? Or you're an exec that just wants to improve the organizational's output? 1, 2, or 3. I know certain times people will say, oh, I'm 1 and 2. No, choose 1, 2, or 3. Which one? Let me see. Type in LinkedIn, tell me which one you are. Let me see who is who. Let me see if I can shift this a bit so I can see the screen. All right, so tell me which one you are. So Olufunsho is 3. Olufunsho is an exec and wants to see how he can be more productive. Daniel is 1, so Daniel is in finance. Aina is in finance. Emmanuel is in finance. Ibrahim is in finance. Wow, Tai is in finance. Babajide is... All of you are in finance. Wow. Lukman is in finance, wanting to just learn new stuff. Chinyele is where? Lagos Occupation Finance Professional. Finance. Mohammed, you're the only one that is... Mohammed, tell us who you are. Mohammed, you said 2. Are you more like a gig worker, or you just... What are you doing and you want to break into finance? Vincent, also tell us what you are. Are you breaking into finance? Tell us. Okay, great stuff from everybody. So whatever your wishes are, whatever your reasons are for joining us in this webinar, I respect those reasons, and hopefully we're going to get lots of value for you, right? That's the whole aim. Great. So my goals for this session. So I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts on how artificial intelligence will change the field of finance and financial modeling. I'll give you more deeper insights into understanding how the artificial intelligence, how it's moving, how it's progressing, right? So that when new things happen, you don't get too surprised, all right? So gradually, I think it's stabilizing what it is and how the various frontier models are being run. So I'm mentioning frontier models. I'll explain what that means. So you will learn how to use AI on projects, and you also leverage how we are currently using AI in Deep Brown Consulting. Even for our course that we have, we're integrating AI into it as much as possible, all right? So, give you a small idea of the agenda. First, I will give you an overview of financial modeling. So even if you're in finance or not in finance, especially for the few not in finance, like Prevail, Ajala, and we have who else is not in finance that we need to give. So those will give you an idea of what financial modeling is. I'll give you an overview of AI, general overview of AI, so you have an general understanding of AI. So I'll do quite a bit of talking. And then I'll give you an overview of AI and financial modeling. So if you understand financial modeling, you understand AI. Okay, so AI and financial modeling, how is it going to mix? How are we going to work together? How are we going to work on it on financial modeling, right? I'll do a small demo. So maybe the demo will be in between all of this. And then that's our core session. Then, of course, I'll talk to you about our academy, Financial Modeling Academy, which is coming up very soon. And we have the Special Africa Scholarship, as you know. And then we'll do how do you earn that designation, and how do you get more skills? What is the designation? I'm going to talk about the international designation. So for those breaking into finance, you're able to get a globally recognized financial certification that is based on a skill. So you prove that you know how to build models. And then live Q&A. By the way, for those that are here and your results came out, I know the last results came out, I think yesterday. Type in the chat if you're one of the newly minted advanced financial modelers from Deep Brown Consulting. Type in the chat so we can recognize you. I'll look out for that. Okay, so who is speaking? I'm David Brown, Microsoft MVP on data, on Excel, also on data analytics previously, and then also on artificial intelligence. So Excel and artificial intelligence, that's where I have my MVP from Microsoft. I'm also CEO of D Brown Analytics Solutions, which is a Dubai-based company that we do all our analytics from. Managing partner, D Brown Consulting, a consultant with the World Bank, a consultant to the Nigeria Governors Forum, also the deputy president of the Learning and Development Network International. I'm honorary treasurer of the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce, international speaker, master trainer, master instructional designer, chairman of the data and IT faculty for ICANN. So if you're a chartered accountant, join the data and IT faculty, and then also committee member of ICANN Accountability Index, and do all sorts of stuff. So what hat am I wearing? I'm wearing financial modeling hat, D Brown Consulting, financial modeling hat. That's what I'm wearing now. Some of you would have done quite a lot of our courses. We've designed a lot of courses, trained thousands of people, and also hundreds of clients. All right, lots of years experience. So that's what I'm going to share with you. So after all of this, I'm wondering who here would like me to help you become a world-class financial modeler? Is that what you're interested in? Tell me in the chat. Tell me what you would like. I just love to teach. So I want to kind of make you a world-class financial modeler, harnessing your skills on how you can then earn. So it's not only about the technical bit. Technical bit is very important, how to build a model and all of that technical, but there is more an artistic side to it, and there's more an intuitive, creative thinking side of modeling, which more and more you will need to be able to learn that, because AI will continue to do those technical sides. So you need to learn deeper concepts. I'm going to create a platform for you to ask questions. I will share that link with you so that we can vote up people's questions, and then I'll ask questions at the end. That's how we'll probably do Q&A. So are you ready? Are you ready? Type in the chat. If you're not ready, I'm not starting. Are you ready? Are you ready for me to go deep into the content? Yes? Who is ready? Some people are not ready. Are you ready? Are you sure? Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm waiting to see if people are really ready. That's what you said is ready. Okay, you're ready. I accept. All right. Let me. Okay. So you're ready. You're ready. You're ready. All right. I'm ready for you if you're ready for me. Kevin is ready. All right. Good. So I know there are quite a few financial modelers in the house, which is excellent. I like the fact that we have financial modelers in the house. So overview of financial modeling. So financial modeling, to me, it's basically a tool usually built in Excel or spreadsheets to help make better data-driven decisions, to help management make better data-driven decisions. There's one thing about finance, right? Every decision in business is a finance decision. Who can back me up in that? My theory is this: every single decision is a finance decision. Who agrees? Let me see in the chat. Who agrees with me? Every decision is a finance decision. Because there's no decision that doesn't involve money, right? It either involves cost, reduce cost, increase time for something. If you increase time, that means you're increasing cost. Increase time means increase cost, right? So when they say be productive, what does that mean? It means do what you're doing in less time and still at the same quality. That's what productivity means, right? And if you're not productive, it's expensive. If you're productive, you make more money. So it's all tied to finance one way or the other. So I tell people, I challenge people, I say, look, every person in the organization has a finance metric that they're accountable for. So me as CEO, I'm accountable for return on equity. So return on equity and return on invested capital. So that's my metric, ROIC, return on invested capital and value of the organization. If you're working in accounts payable, you have your metric there. So how much payable days, right? What's your payable days, right? If you're working in HR, so what's your total time? What's your finance metric for working in HR? How much does it cost to basically do an onboarding program? The onboarding program itself, there's a cost to it. How is productivity of that person that you've onboarded, right? So there's I'll call it a productivity to cost metric the cost is kind of fixed, but how productive are they? So if they're very productive and that's your onboarding program, it means your onboarding program is really good and you're spending good money, right? So what's your finance metric? Type in the chat. What is your own finance metric that you're responsible for in your organization? I know it's tied to you. Let me have a check and read. What is your finance metric? All right, let me just focus on the slides alone. All right. What is your finance metric? Who knows that? Let me see. At some point, on some root point, okay. Who knows their finance metric? Okay, I'm checking. All right. Okay, so overview of financial modeling. So overview of financial modeling, I think a good way to look at the overview is show you some types of models, right? What are the types of financial models? So the types of financial models, I've just broken those down. And why do you need a financial model? You really need a financial model to basically help people make better data-driven decisions, right? So at the end of the day, you're going to have financial statements, P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statement, but it depends on what kind of financial model you're building. So I'll give you a quick categorization. The first category is corporate finance and core valuation models. So I've categorized all corporate finance and core valuation models into one category, right? Corporate finance and core valuation models. What do I mean by that? Well, analysis of a company's fundamental worth and financial decision-making processes. That's what you're building models for. You're analyzing the company's fundamental worth, and then what financial decision-making processes does it have to do, and what are the financial implications? You should have that in your model, right? Then we have FP&A, planning and operations models. FP&A is financial planning and analysis, right? The planning and operational models that they use. That's another category or type of financial model. So the process of budgeting, forecasting, analyzing financial performance to support strategic decision-making. That's another category of financial models. Then you have sector and business model specific models. Yeah, sector models or business specific business models, right? What are we talking about here? We're saying these models relate to unique characteristics and assumptions tailored to a particular industry. So if I'm building a banking model, I'm building an oil and gas model, those are sector specific. I may build a typical three-statement model, but it's going to be tied to the industry. So oil and gas, telco, they all have their uniqueness. And another, that is when we say sector specific. But business models specific, let's say project finance models. So project finance models means that you're taking a project and the cash flows from that project is what is financing that project. Very big category of models. All of them are under sector and business specific models. Then we have risk and analysis models, the process of identifying, accessing, quantifying potential financial uncertainty and their impact. All right. So that's another category of models. Then we have transaction and restructuring models. These are processes involve the modification of company's financial structure or ownership through deals and reorganization. So you're doing some deals and stuff and lots of restructuring. You want to buy up another company, do a merger. Those are transactions that you need to build models to kind of determine whether is it profitable? Should we do it or shouldn't we do it? Then you have tax, equity, and ownership models. Tax itself is a very big part, and depending on the structure of your company, you can kind of optimize your taxation, right? So allocation and management of financial interests and obligations among stakeholders in a project or company, that's typically what your tax and equity ownership structure models are, all right? Then you have performance and valuation creation models or value creation models. So the process of generating financial returns and increasing wealth through strategic business activities. So if you do this strategic activity, what is the financial implication? If you don't do it, what's the financial implication? A modeler needs to be able to do that analysis and do that with it and without it. And then the difference is obviously what you're going to then present. So modeling is very, very, very broad, right? So these are examples of all the categories or types of financial models. So the financial model universe, all told, I can have a list of 60 or so unique models that you need to build out of all of these categories. Models must follow a set of principles, right, to ensure they are flexible, appropriate, structured, and transparent. Who knows where I got that from? Who can type? Let me see if our model is in the house. Flexible, appropriate, structured, and transparent. This is the what standard? Type, let me see who are the modelers in the house. Type in the chat. What standard is this? It is the FAST modeling standard. So if you go online and Google FAST modeling standard, you will see a set of standards. And I was in London when they launched this a long time ago. How long is that? 15 years ago or so? So me and a colleague went to London, and modelers were there trying to standardize how we do modeling, right? And they came up with the FAST modeling standard, which is flexible, appropriate, structured, and transparent. It was flexible, accurate, structured, and transparent. They changed accurate to appropriate. Now, there's a manual there you could go download for free that gives you an idea of what are the best practices for modeling. Then, of course, you have your learning financial modeling fundamentals is key. So types of models are good, but you need to learn the fundamentals. If you have the fundamentals, every other thing fits in. And your fundamentals are really the first, corporate finance and core valuation models. And once you understand those fundamentals, it enables you to leverage artificial intelligence better. Yeah, it will enable you to leverage artificial intelligence once you understand the fundamentals, right? Right. Now, as I said, FAST modeling standard is a great standard. But then in, I think 6 years ago or so, the Financial Modeling Institute was born. Financial Modeling Institute. And the Financial Modeling Institute is like a professional body. What they are doing is they're trying to certify you or assess you and see whether you truly know how to build models. And their exams are one of the most challenging exams you'll ever do. No theory, no multiple choice. You have to build a model from scratch live while they're watching you build it and they are recording your screen. You're building from a blank spreadsheet. Super exam. Some of you here have done the exam already. The results came out yesterday. I'm looking to see who is a newly minted AFM. If you know, if you passed your exams when the results came out yesterday, let me know. Oh yeah, so John, you got your results yesterday and I trained with you. Now you're AFM. John Simpa, tell us where you're connecting from. Tell us that. Excellent, John. I knew we'll have some of our modelers here. Wonderful. Congratulations. Congrats. Okay, so let's move on. Let me just show you a list of some of the models, right? These are some of the models. So your core valuation and corporate finance model, three-statement model, DCF, unlevered and levered beta, trading comparables, precedent transactions, LBO, blah, blah, blah. All these are core valuation and corporate finance models, the core. So these are like, you need to know all of this. You need to understand it well. Then you have your FP&A planning and operational models, right? Driver-based budgeting, for example, rolling forecast. What's a driver-based budgeting? You do a detailed budgeting model, and then going through the budgeting cycle, as assumptions are changing, your model is automatically updating. That's a true financial modeler, right? So more FP&A models, you have working capital models, you have your scenario sensitivity models. Then, of course, your sector-specific models, right? This is where you have your project finance models, you have your pharma models, you have your airline models, you have your bank models, credit models, asset management models, those sector-specific. Then you have risk and analytics models. You have your VAR, your stress testing, you do your Monte Carlo simulation and all those things there. Your transaction and restructuring models. You can do a SPAC and de-SPAC analysis. If you want to do SPACs, what are SPACs? Check online. A way to basically a cheaper way for you to get listed, right? And you do your debt refinancing. All those are transaction and restructuring models. So how does debt affect how you model, right? How do you sculpt debt? Yeah, debt sculpting. Then you have your tax, equity, and ownership models, right? So you have your ESOP, you have your share-based compensation. You have to model that. So share-based compensation, what happens if our share price goes up based on this compensation, blah, blah, blah. What is the tax implications, right? So you have your tax models. And in here, you could have a cross between a sector model and a tax model. For example, oil and gas, you could have a fiscal model, oil and gas fiscal model, which basically takes all the tax laws, and how they affect cash flows in oil and gas. I know we have a very detailed training on that. And in fact, that's one of the things I do with the World Bank. It's an oil and gas fiscal model for the country, right? So performance models too. If you want to know how did we perform, well, you check the value before and the value after, and the difference is kind of your performance, right? Or you kind of put in assumptions based on price, volume, price analysis, your return on invested capital, change certain things and then see the effect on performance and value creation. Where is value coming from? Is value coming from growth? Because sometimes if you grow very fast, you destroy value. And then growth can also add value. So is growth adding or destroying value? It's an interesting concept, which you will need to check out. So that's your intro to financial modeling. Fully come up to speed. We have that. Good. Let me give you a quick overview of artificial intelligence. All right. So before I do that, let's pause. Let me come back. And see you guys. So where are we here? So you understand financial modeling? Tell me in the chat. One key thing you got out of that short financial modeling talk and types of financial models. Type in LinkedIn, key takeaway for you on understanding an overview of financial modeling. Type. I give you a few seconds. Just type that. Trying to be sure that we're all following, all right? Type. Okay. Let me see. What has someone typed? Type. What is your key takeaway from the small talk and the overview of financial models? I know some of you are finance pros already, but let me know what. Okay, it takes a while for to come in. All right, so let's continue. Let's move on. Okay, so overview of artificial intelligence. Now, AI, as you know, is big, but AI has been around for a very long time. 1940s, 1950s, artificial intelligence. Yes, it has always been there. So it has been there as something called algorithmic AI. Algorithmic AI, which means it's algorithms. So it's like a tree map, right? Something happens, yes, no, yes, okay, this is what should happen next, this is what should happen next. So like building a very detailed tree map. And artificial intelligence looks through the historical trends, and then kind of predicts or predicts the future based on that. And that has worked super well. But then there's also the, how I call it, generative AI, which is more working as the kind of the way the brain works. And as you know, we don't fully know how the brain works, right? But at least it's generating something from almost zero. And it hadn't, the generative AI side didn't blow up until recently, probably 10 years ago, especially when ChatGPT came out. That was when it really blew up. So why did that happen? What happened to make all of this happen? What changed? What really changed was certain things came to place, right? One person I would like you to follow is the godfather of AI. His name is Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton, go check him out. He invented something called backpropagation in the 1980s. So simplistically, it's just, okay, how do you learn from the past, all right? How do you use the past to kind of learn the future, past and future, right? But go check out the details if you're interested. But so he did that, and he kept on doing a lot of research and deep work on generative AI, or the neural networks, the way the brain works. But it never really brought anything solid until two more things happened. One is the way the AI is trained. The most efficient way to train AI is kind of the same way we train video games, or we use video games. And the company that does that is NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA is the video gaming company then, but now is the AI company, right? They've moved from like $20 billion to $3 trillion in valuation. Frankly speaking, they're the only people making money in AI. Let me just let you know. They're the ones really making money in AI. Everybody else is experimenting, and so many people are experimenting. Eventually, someone will get it right. So OpenAI, Microsoft with Copilot, Anthropic with Claude, Gemini, Google, they're spending billions and billions of dollars. They haven't made that money back. In short, it's like a $3 trillion bet they're making. Building data centers, spending money. They're not making money yet, and they're using us to experiment. So you, the early adopters, every time you use different AI tools, you're helping them know what works. All right. So what I'll do is I'll show one or two techniques for us to use AI in financial modeling. All right. Now, I've told you that's two. So by propagation, you have the Geoffrey Hinton and his work. Then you have the NVIDIA and their GPUs. And then you have lots of data from the internet. But then there was one missing piece, one small invention, one algorithm or one structure that was invented by Google in 2017. And that is called transformers. So they invented a transformer architecture. You can go online and check it. Very simple architecture. And that was transformational because they wrote an article on it. Attention is all you need. And with that transformer technology, backpropagation, data, NVIDIA GPUs, a small company called OpenAI took all of that with all the data and said, okay, let's see what AI can bring. And they were shocked at the results. It wasn't just a simple autocomplete. It was given amazing results. And the rest is history, as we know, right? Now we have all sorts of companies running after that. So let's bring this back to context of financial modeling, right? Overview of AI, you can check that out. So in the context of financial modeling, let's see, based on the context of financial modeling, we can check this out. Let me go back to financial modeling and show you what we call in D. Brown Consulting, the DAPA framework. So when it comes to financial modeling, executing financial models, we use this DAPA framework. So starting, read from the right down. So DAPA is define your scope and objectives, that's D. When you're doing a financial modeling project, you need to define your scope and objectives. Then you need to acquire and cleanse data. That's A, acquire and cleanse data. Then you need to plan and structure the flow of your data. You need to plan and do a full detailed structure of the structure of your financial model, how the outputs will look, everything around the structure, right? So that's DAP. Then the next P to the left is populate your core calculations. This is when you've built your model, you're populating that model with core outputs, calculations, data, right? Then once you do that, you also need to evaluate, stress test your model, validate your inputs and stress test it. So you do a lot of evaluation and analysis around your model. And then lastly, you now do a reporting, output and maintenance of your model. So I'd like you to almost take a picture of this. And every part of this is what you're asking yourself. How can AI help me with all the stages of financial modeling? How can it help me with defining the scope and objective? How can it help me with acquiring and cleansing data? How can it help me with planning, structure, and flow? How can it help me with populating core calculations? How can AI help me evaluate, validate, and stress test models? How can AI help me do reporting, automation, and outputs? So let's look at AI tools and see how that works. Now, for you to fully grasp this, the way you speak to AI is through prompting. So something called prompt engineering, some have even said is the most important thing is actually context engineering. So I'm going to teach you a prompting framework, and we're going to use that framework in the demo. We're going to see how do we do an analysis or build a model using financial AI for a real company. All right, are we good? Okay, so let's jump in. Let me check the chat. And yes, so we're going to jump in. Let me give you a fuller version of this DAPA framework, right? There's still a deeper version of this. This is a fuller version, right? So you're defining, these are the steps for defining, acquiring, planning. Yeah, and as deeper as you go, the more you can prompt the AI to give you precisely what you want, all right? So we're going to go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'll talk about the CRISP prompt engineering framework and how we can leverage that framework. So over to you, backend guys, if you can give us a quick introduction to the Financial Modeling Academy and then maybe one testimonial, and we'll come back to now go into the CRISP framework and then we do the demo. Hi, I'm David Brown from D. Brown Consulting.
And hi there, I'm Ian Schnur from the Financial Modeling Institute, the FMI, in Toronto, Canada. We are very pleased to announce the launch of the Financial Modeling Academy, the FMA.
And the launch of a special scholarship for African residents and students. The FMA will open up employment opportunities as analysts in private equity, hedge funds, FP&A.
Thousands will be able to get employed as corporate or commercial bankers, work in private debt or equity research, and become a valued strategic advisor to any organization in the world.
And the Financial Modeling Academy takes just 8 weeks to complete at a fraction of the cost.
Click the link below or scan the QR code to join the next cohort of the Financial Modeling Academy today and supercharge your career in finance.
To be sincere, it has done a lot because immediately I finished the training, I knew that it was time to move from my former place of work. And I said, running up my CV, I told myself it was time to move. And then even before I got my exam, accreditation and all that, I told myself, you have to, push on your CV and start moving. And immediately my exam came out was one of the things that gave me that push because the interviewers asked me, I said, yes, I have my AFM, and then they asked me a few things on financial modeling. I was able to answer, and then I got the job. Thank you. Okay, hi, my name is Gloria Odova. I'm a chartered accountant. I work as a tax manager at Darby Industries, Ladipo. I joined the company this year in 2024 as the admin tax manager. Okay, so I belong to the ICANN tax platform. So I think it was pasted there last year. So it's something I've been planning to do, but I never had the opportunity and a good platform to train for it. So immediately I saw the post, I just knew this was the opportunity to go out. I wanted to train or get a good training of financial modeling, but I didn't have good information or a good platform to go about the training. So when it was posted on ICANN tax platform, I saw it as a good opportunity to go ahead and train for it. Okay, I expected to, after the training, to be good in my financial modeling skills and all that. During the training, I wasn't so, I expected a physical structure, where you come for the training, but then I saw that everything was done virtual. At first, I was a bit skeptical, but then the short videos that Mr. David was putting up, it was interesting because anyone that I don't understand, I would just quickly go back, slowly look at them and then get a grip of it before I could go to the next video. So at the time, I got used to it and it started flowing. And then I started getting used to it. So it became very interesting over time.
All right, so we are back. All right, so let us jump back into the session. So CRISP Prompt Engineering Framework. Some of us here already have heard of CRISP. One of the most important things, how do you talk to AI? How do you work with AI? So how are we going to talk to AI financial modeling? Remember Dapper? So obviously you want to use financial modeling for AI for financial modeling, understand Dapper, which is the framework for financial modeling, and then understand CRISP. Then how we bring them together, we're going to see in a demo. What is CRISP, Prompt Engineering Framework? So at D Brown, we do lots of frameworks. We have so many frameworks, right? If you know some other frameworks we've shared, type it in the chat, some frameworks you've heard and you know. Right? I've mentioned CRISP, I've mentioned Dapper. If somebody knows another framework, type it in the chat while I continue. So how do we speak to AI? The most important thing is think about AI as your personal assistant, all right? So think about AI as that exceptional personal assistant that every single person now has. Every single person now has a personal assistant that knows its stuff. PhD level, almost PhD level personal assistant, right? So how do you leverage this? It's the same way you have a colleague and you need to communicate with your colleague about what it is you want your colleague to do. What do you need help with? How do you need your colleague to work with you? You need to be able to be crisp in your communication. Crisp, right? You need to speak in a crisp way and give clear instructions, right? Clear requirements, right? So that when the colleague goes off and does that work and comes back with the results, you're happy with the results. You need to be crisp. So first thing is context. When you're working with AI, you need to understand context. So the first thing about it is context. So context for us, let me explain what context is first. Provide clear context to guide your AI's response. Give clear background details, scope, and assumptions. So the first thing is you're telling the AI, look, you are a financial modeling analyst. So this is how you kind of give it context. You're a financial modeling analyst, an expert in mergers and acquisitions. You understand the banking industry in depth, and in fact, all the various transactions, blah, blah, blah. I can mention all of that stuff. You're giving it general context. So I'm working on financial modeling. As financial modeling expert, you understand the fast modeling standard, you understand this, you understand that, and we're going to now work together on a bank modeling project. So a bank has approached us, or an investor has approached us wanting to invest in a bank, and we're going to build a detailed banking model to basically see whether or not we should invest in this bank. So we're going to do evaluation. So given a context, yeah? Part of that context, again, is the role. You need to give AI a role. Tell it is the professor of financial modeling. It's one of the best in financial modeling, and you know all the best practices in modeling, which include blah, 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 right? So that's the role, the responsibility, and the relevance, right? So why you're doing that role is you don't want to spend too much money on using your AI. What do I mean by that? If you don't tell AI a role, AI knows everything, right? Or technically nearly everything. You're narrowing AI's field of knowledge to what you need, which means all its resources are going to be poured into what you need, not everything, right? So it kind of gives you better results. And there's a way you can even augment that by adding constraints. I'm going to come to constraints, what I mean by constraints. So context, role, instructions. So here, typically, I like to use this for system prompts. What do I mean by system prompt? I consider prompts, I break prompts into two, system and user prompts. So system prompt is the one that you program AI, the back end of AI, how it's supposed to work. How is AI supposed to respond? How is AI supposed to work on a day-to-day basis? The deeper instructions. Now, that way you tell it, okay, I would like you to ensure that you always ask me clarifying questions. That's a system prompt. Never assume, ask me clarifying questions so that you can give me the best answer. Don't answer immediately, do deeper analysis and review analysis before answering me. Ensure that you follow the context of everything we've said before, those kind of prompts. Now, quite a lot of these instructions that I used to have before, AI tools, Claude, Gemini, and Co. have already integrated it into the AI itself, into their training of the model. So sometimes you may not need it. Earlier on, we may need deeper instructions. So how do you want AI to work? What are your system instructions, constraints, guidelines, outputs, output schema? How do you want the output to look? Stuff like that. Then there are more deeper instructions, which I call specifications. These ones are more like SOPs, standard operating procedures. You have detailed documentation. This is how I want my model to look. This is the framework for how I build models. Column A, B, and C are narrow and are used for navigation. Column D is this, column. You're given very detailed specifications, right? You're sharing highly detailed SLAs, process documentation, same thing you share with human beings, right? So yeah, giving AI those very detailed documentation. This is our modeling manual. Read a detailed modeling manual and modeling book or pitch book or this. You're given specifications to AI. Then you have practice. The last thing you need to know is, look, to be good at prompting, to be good at building and working with AI, you need to practice. Yeah? Evaluate, iterate continuously. That is super important. All right, so with this in mind, with the CRISP framework, you have the CRISP framework. Let's jump into some models. Let me show you a typical, and let's say we're going to do a simulation of a bank model, all right? So I'll give you a typical, this is a typical bank model, right? So I have your typical bank model, and in this bank model, we have, well, at the end of the day, when I'm building a bank model, I will do research. Remember your DAPA framework? I'll need to define what it is I'm trying to do and do some more research there. So let me just get this clearer. Okay. So here, for example, if you're a bank building a bank model, it's a sector-specific model. You need to understand the sector. There's Basel 1, Basel 2, Basel 3. All these things are related to banking, right? You have all the different aspects of a bank model. Now, if I go deeper, I'll see that if I want to build a model, this is my own model for bank model. Let's now assume that we want AI to build it. So I'm going to write a prompt, and then we're going to go to various AIs and see how we can build. So what we want to do is get AI to go deep into analysis of data. What kind of data are we analyzing? Well, let me show you some data. Let me go to my Google Docs. Let's see, where's my Google Docs? Okay. Let me check. Okay, no, that's not it. So let me log on to my Google Docs so you can see what I'm talking about. Quick login. All right, so okay, so we're going to use Claude. So here we have Claude, for example. If I go to my Google Doc, I created a demo document. So here I've downloaded when I'm doing my own research, right? So I'm doing my defining and gathering data, cleaning data. I've downloaded all the Access Bank financial statements. Access Bank, for those that don't know, is a big bank in Nigeria, one of the, if not the biggest bank in Nigeria. And so this is their financial statements, for example. Let me see if I can. This is the latest financial statements they have, 2024 financials. So as a financial modeler, obviously, this is your source document, right? You're going to take the financials for the last 3 years or so, extract it, restructure the financials, and build your model, right? That's the process. So this is about, what, 438 pages of financials. So you need the AI to kind of read it the same way you're going to read it. So the AI needs to do the research, define and understand this, and then come up with deep drivers, and eventually we'll come up with the model. How I work with AI is I know what I want to do, and I have this extremely exceptional assistant, and I'm guiding it through the process. I'm asking it to do stuff. If it messes up, I would know it messed up. Why will I know it messed up? Because I am already a domain expert. So that's one important thing. If you're not already an expert and you're asking AI to do some complex stuff, anything AI gives you, you have absolutely no idea whether it's correct or wrong. That is very dangerous. So what's going to happen in future, especially, is our junior analysts, they will need to ramp up very quickly. And the best way to ramp up is to use AI as well to ramp up, but then have experience of a senior analyst so that you know you're ramping up correctly. Because if you're not a domain expert, AI can lie. AI tells lies at times. You will not know when it's lying, right? But it's getting better and better. So what you could do as a junior analyst, ask AI to do a deep analysis of this financials. Very simple. I mean, I can go to, let's start with Claude. Go to, or let me use, which one should I use? Claude, okay, let's use Claude. So again, these models, they're all similar. All of them are similar. So Claude is Anthropic. Look at OpenAI. I did some analysis of OpenAI. This is analysis I was doing just before this session. You see how I did this and how we work on this. But if I go to OpenAI, this is OpenAI, right? I'm using I can use the most powerful thinking model. I like to use the thinking. There's instance, there's auto. So let me use auto. Let me use instance. Now, I could decide that I'm doing the first stage of our modeling, which is you're defining the objectives. And the second stage is you're acquiring and cleaning data. So stage 1 and stage 2, defining and acquiring. So here, I'll basically use the CRISP framework. What's the context? We are building a detailed financial and valuation model for, oops, why is it all caps? Ugh. Okay, let's try again. So I'm giving a context. We are building a detailed financial and valuation model for Access Bank. As an investment bank ourselves, as an investment advisor, we need to determine whether to buy, we need to determine what advice to give our investors. Let me just say buy or sell, right? To do this, we will need to go through, to do this, I will need you to work with me. Now, how I prompt AI is like a human being. So I need you to work with me to build a model, draft the valuation, create a pitch book, and ultimately advise the client. Do you understand this request? So what have I done here? So I've done context, right? Or should I, first of all, I haven't done rule. So I've given it some general instructions and context, right? And specifications, I would have given it the DAPA framework, but I don't have time for that. Let's give it a role. So you will play the role of an exceptional financial modeling analyst, all right? Now, what I'm doing is I'm doing a user prompt. More efficiently would be for me to create a custom GPT. So, right now, if you look up here, I see Chat GPT. I can create a modeler GPT. And in the GPT, I would have done a detailed prompt about how I want it to behave as a top financial modeling analyst, right? And when you join us in the Financial Modeling Academy, we're going to build, everybody's going to have their own GPT, right? We'll show you how to use our own GPT, but I'll show you how to use your own GPT, and you follow the program with your GPT, with your AI. As you're doing the course, you're using your AI as well. So in the new course, when the next cohort, we're going to have that. But here, if you do a systems GPT, therefore, I won't need to say all this stuff. All this stuff, I don't need to say it. I would have already put it in the system. So all I need to do is ask it a question directly. So here we say you will play the role of an exceptional financial modeling analyst, understanding all the best practices, and bringing that to bear in our project. All right, so I've given it a role. Now I say, do you understand the request? Give us a plan of action. So I've sent that to, so that's my prompt. I've sent that prompt to Anthropic. Let me send the same prompt to ChatGPT. No, this is ChatGPT. Let's do the same to Claude. Let's give Claude the same thing. Why not give Gemini as well? So let's give Gemini the same thing. So I'm using Gemini, I'm using Claude, I'm using OpenAI, right? So for my Gemini is the free version, right? For my OpenAI is the paid version. For my Claude is also the paid version. So let's see what it comes up with. So it comes up with project plan, Access Bank investment analysis. Phase 1 is information gathering and research. Phase 2, financial model development. Phase 3, valuation framework. Phase 4, investment recommendation. And then what's the phase 5 is client deliverables, right? So give me a second. Let me just show the screen alone. Client deliverables, then yeah, so it's kind of good. Looks nice. I like the structure. Let's see OpenAI. It said define the scope and gather data, build a model, valuation and sensitivity, investment view, pitch book, final review. Now I have a systems prompt behind the scenes, so I think it's kind of affecting this a bit. But let's vote. This is OpenAI, and this is ChatGPT's structure, right? This is Claude's structure. Can you type in the chat? Which one do you prefer? Claude or ChatGPT? We've just started the work. Claude or ChatGPT? Which one do you prefer? What do you prefer? Let me see. Who is winning in your book? Remember, ChatGPT broke it down to define scope and gather data, build a model, valuation and sensitivity, investment view, pitch book, and then final review. Claude said, what we're going to do is information gathering, financial model development, valuation framework, investment recommendations, client deliverables, and the client deliverables are pitch book, model documentation, investment committee memo. Sounds interesting. Let's see. Who wins? Claude. Let me see who wins. Who wins? I'm interested in knowing which one you prefer. Can see lots of Claude. Can you give reasons why you think it's Claude? It would be nice. Can you type your reasons why you think Claude is better? Okay, I'm going to do another one. Ideally, this is how I work with AI. If I agree with the structure, fine. If I don't agree, I'll give it my own structure. And then every single step of the way, I'm working with AI, right? So for example, if I agree with Claude, I can start with the phase one. The phase one, information gathering and stuff. I tell it to go ahead and gather information. So I can click on the research side. Okay, do your deep research. Do your deep research and complete phase one. All right, I've told it to do its deep research and complete phase one. Right now it's using Sonnet 4. I think Opus is the most powerful model, but let's leave it as Sonnet. Sonnet is fine. So you can choose which models to use. Now, most of the models, you won't see much of a difference, right? If you're doing simple stuff, but if you're doing deep stuff, you will see a difference. So right now, I'll leave the model as Sonnet 4. The latest model for Claude is Opus 4.1, which they claim can do better financial analysis better than financial analysts. That's what they claim, which I've seen some wonderful stuff. We will see that soon. So I can tell it, do your deep research. Let's see where it goes there. Then for this one, what did it say is phase one? Phase one is define scope and gather data. Okay. Okay, look at it. See what they say. They say macroeconomic industry analysis, Nigeria's banking sector trends. He already knows Nigeria. See, I kind of like OpenAI's. You guys love Claude, but maybe I'm biased, right? OpenAI showed that it knows what I'm asking for, right? Kind of. All right. So look at it doing research, right? So let me ask OpenAI to do research as well. And then I'm going to show you something that's not following this logic. So this is the way I would work with it. I'm doing my own research, I'm doing his own research. I'm asking him questions around that research, all right? Okay. All right, so look at what it did. It went to Access Bank Nigeria's financial results, downloaded 2024 results. Access Bank business model, subsidiary geography, the footprint, blah, 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 Nigerian banking sector, competitive landscape. What was this? Look at this. See the analysis it did? This is all the analysis you as an analyst would have done, it has done. So in these financials, it downloaded Access Holding PLC 2024 annual report, Access Holdings 2024 abridged report, Access Holdings half year 2024 interim report, Access PLC September 20 financial. It downloaded all this data in its analysis. It went to Access Bank business model subsidiary and it downloaded all of this data, Wikipedia. Went to Nigerian banking sector competitive landscape. It did 10 different research things under that. Then Access Bank market share, another leading banks in Nigeria. If I click this, you see the research it did. You see the deep research that it did, see? So this is where it's getting the data from. I don't want to accept cookies, right? Reject everything. All right, so you can see the kind of analysis it's doing and giving you detailed links of those analyses, right? And then failed to fetch investor relations, Access Bank, something. Yeah, didn't fetch that, right? Then it's giving me my report. Now, once you get to this stage, this is where your own experience comes in. Now, on OpenAI side, you can see that I've asked it to do research. It's done his research, right? Did it do his research? Do a deep research. This is not, look at how it does its own. It has the links. I think Claude has won the research side, unless I ask it to, maybe if I change the model from instant, right? Let me go to thinking, or in fact, let me even come here to this plus sign and ask it to do deep research, all right? Let's give OpenAI a run for its money. When you click on this plus sign, you can add more tools. These are more agents. These are agentic tools. You can either get a full agent tool that will go deeper. Deep Research is also an agent. You can ask it to create images, and there's this new one that came out a couple of days ago. This is Study and Learn. This will teach you stuff. So let me ask it to do Deep Research, right? Using Deep Research. Do a better job. Do a better job with phase one. All right, so I'm asking OpenAI to go back and do better, right? Wait a minute. Access Bank, financials. Oh, okay, no, I'm in the wrong place. Okay, yeah, so it's gone to do its research. Wait a minute, it's asking me questions. To do a better, deeper job in phase one, could you please confirm the following? Now, see this? This is asking clarifying questions. So if you're using AI as a financial modeler, one important system prompt is to always tell it to ask clarifying questions. I'd already done that in the system prompt, and I'll show you how to do your own system prompt. Remember what I said about system prompt? It is the back end of the AI, how the AI works, all right? So here we're going to say, okay, do you want research focused solely on Access Holdings PLC or Access Bank? I think let's do the bank. Should I include benchmarking against specific banks, Zenith Bank? Okay, why not? Do you want detailed macroeconomic modeling inputs, e.g. inflation, interest rates? Yeah. Is there a preferred format or scope of the output? Reports with visual summaries, Excel ready, tables and stuff, right? So for one, I'll answer one. I'll say do for the bank. For the bank. Two, should I include a benchmark? Yes, please. Number three, do you want detailed macroeconomic? I'll just say yes. And then number four, is there a preferred format or scope of the output? Well, I would like a printable document and also augmented with some models, some Excel models. All right. So I've given it work to do. It goes does the work. Let's see what Claude did. So this is Claude, right? So this is Claude's own research, right? This is phase one. This is what Claude has for phase one. Now, ideally, when you do this with Claude, what you can then do with this phase one is you can do side by side. Now, Claude may not have I would like it to go side by side so we can continue to modify this with the AI and argue points around it back and forth with the AI. So instead of asking it to correct certain things, we can correct it together, right? So if I go to OpenAI, OpenAI is still doing its own research. The ChatGPT, but it's called, what's it called in OpenAI? Canvas. I'm not too sure. I haven't tried this before. Let's see. Let's say go to Canvas mode. Let me see if it does that, because they all copy each other. So what I want in Canvas mode is I want it to be side by side. So once it's side by side, yes, it does Canvas mode. That way I can be correcting. It's almost like I'm reviewing my analyst's work, right? So my analyst has done some report to the right and I'm reviewing it to the left. So let's wait for it to finish its updating of Canvas mode, right? Then let's get back to research. Now that I've said deep research, this can take 20 minutes, guys. It can take quite a while. So I'm going to leave this for now. Let's go to some prompts. Let me show you a prompt that doesn't go through. This is my own process of working with AI. But I'll probably do this work for a couple of days with AI. Now, I know for sure that AI doesn't build the models in this excellent format yet, right? So I've shown you an example of a very well-structured financial model. This is from our bank modeling course, right? As an alumnus of our Financial Modeling Academy, you will soon get access, although access to some of these courses at a really discounted rate. So this is me building a model our way, very detailed, right? I have my guidelines. In my guidelines, I have my glossary. I have my, how will I call it, analysis around steps. Because, for example, these are the steps for building a proper bank model, right? So this is human built. AI will eventually be able to build this, right? But you need to understand how to do this yourself. That way you're able to advise AI. So before this session, I asked AI, I sent a prompt to AI. Let me show you the prompt I used. And then we can then play with it and see how we can use it going forward. Let me go to fun prompt. So I typed this prompt for AI, right? So this was the demo for banking analysis. I said, let me just show you what I did. So I said, hi, I need to do a detailed analysis of Access Bank PLC's performance relative to the performance targets they have committed to in their last earnings call and general analyst sentiments. Just say dig into their financials for the last 3 years and base your assessment on a professionally built financial model. Use my content on Access Bank on my Google Drive. So I'll connect my Google Drive to it with all my content on Access Bank, which has their latest financial statements. So this is a prompt, right? So this prompt says, hey, just go and build a model, straight up, go and build a model. This is not my preferred approach for working with your AI. I prefer phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we're working together and back and forth. Let me show you what the canvas mode looks like. So let's go back to Claude, right? So look at the canvas mode, right? So on the left-hand side, what is done is, here it says, I'll switch to canvas mode to create comprehensive visual representation of Access Bank's investment analysis. Let me create an interactive dashboard that presents all the phase 1, blah, blah, blah. So it did that to the right. And then to the left, I can kind of be modifying things as it modifies to the right. So this is it already done an analysis. Key business metrics, total assets, customer deposits. Now, by the way, everybody, please, this is not advice on whether to buy or sell Access Bank. I don't need to be sued by Access Bank. I'm just using Access Bank as an example, all right? So, but see what Claude has done. It's done a comprehensive financial modeling evaluation dashboard, phase 1, complete, Nigeria's largest bank by assets. Yeah, company overview, financial performance, market position, investment analysis. Super detailed. Don't you love that? I think it's exceptional, right? Investment strengths, key risk factors, loss of visionary CEO Herbert Wigwe, 100% right. This is amazing. Because that's what I would have put there, right? Then you have currency risk, naira depreciation affecting. So this is like investment analysis, market position. So let me see if I can modify it a bit. Let's say, yeah, number 15, competitive positioning, Africa's top 100 banks, right? So let's say I want to add, which other bank should we add here? Someone in Nigeria, tell me which other bank should it add into its analysis? Someone tell me, shout out. Let's see. Maybe I should add Sterling Bank, even though they're bottom tier bank. I say in your market analysis, please include Sterling Bank and also a comparative bank in the USA, so we can validate some of the critical metrics that makes a bank great. All right, critical metrics that make a bank outperform or something. Let me just, not great, outperform. All right. Okay, so now if I click on that, what I expect it to do is read my context and go and update this Access Bank, this whole stuff it has to the right, okay? That's what I expect it to do. So now let's search for comparable. So it's doing his research. Let's leave it to do his research, his work. Let's go back to ChatGPT. Remember, I told ChatGPT to do deep research, right? I chose, let me remind you guys. When I clicked on this plus sign, I chose deep research. This is very expensive. This is the one people pay $200 a month for. I just have access to some of it, right? If you don't have access to deep research, I advise you do agent mode. Agent mode is like deep research. You go deep into doing deep research. As an agent, you've sent it out to the world and say, hey, go and pick up all this information and come and create a report for me. All right? But I'm using deep research, which takes time, right? See sources. But Claude didn't take too much time and it looked like deep research, didn't it? Right? So you can see how using the various services, and by the way, these are all paid services, right? So Google, can you remember we asked Google as well, which is Gemini, right? So you have build financial models. This is Google's own plan. Data gathering and foundation. What does that mean? Okay, initial data collection, industry and economic research, fine. Build the financial model, valuation analysis, pitch book and recommendation. I'm ready to begin. All right. So this is, well, Gemini's own. I'll use Gemini for something else towards the end. But yeah, Gemini, not too bad. And it's not paid, so I haven't upgraded, but it's still good, right? But you're getting to understand how to use AI as your top executive assistant, right? Eventually, you can make a systems prompt, create your own custom GPT that you don't need to say too much. You just need to say, hey, I'm analyzing Nestle or something. So Deji is asking, how can one keep track of the assumptions being used by AI in arriving at the financial model, or check if it has not deviated? Yes, that's part of the work, Deji. So we're not just abdicating to AI. We're asking AI, we're constantly working with AI. And that's why I did this side by side, right? So this side by side analysis, I'm saying, hey, we're working together. You look at what it's saying and say, I don't agree with this analysis. This is that, this is that. What is the source? It knows the source. It already showed you all the sources in its research, right? Right. So you need to go back and forth and work with AI. Yeah. Do you get that's the whole point. So here I say ready to proceed to phase 2. Now, I asked it to put Sterling Bank. I can't see Sterling Bank in the analysis, right? So unless it's asking me to refresh, but I'll say I don't see Sterling Bank. It's part of your analysis. And in the investment analysis report you generated. Yeah. So please update it. Please update it. So you see, I'm talking like I'm talking to a real person, right? Please update it. And let's see what it does or what it says, right? I'll come back to it. Let's go back. Research is still going on. I shouldn't have told it to do deep research, but this is deep. And then here. So I asked the AI, so that prompt I showed you, so look at it, is updating with Python, right? So it's writing Python code to update. Do you need to know Python now? No, not necessarily, but it's good to know so that you'll be a domain expert when he's doing Python or making his errors. But now the interface, what has happened with AI is this. AI has, computers have had languages forever, right? C++, Python, VBA, all sorts of languages. But now, with AI's intervention, computers now have a new operating language or programming language called English. English is now the programming language, which we understand very well. So as you're typing English, it's coding. That's the beauty of AI. Now let's see the market position. Can you see Sterling Bank now? Based on your own inputs. So this is how you work with AI, not how AI will replace you. You need to be able to work with AI back and forth constantly, and you continue to improve your analysis. Look at this, it added JP Morgan, right? So giving some metrics that's in comparison to Access Bank. This is a global benchmark. We're gradually improving this analysis, right? Which will eventually become a full book, and you're working with AI. And you're training, as you're working with AI, AI is learning from you, the domain expert, right? Now, you read all of this, you correct it, you make corrections, right? You go in and make corrections. Now, if it is OpenAI, I can make corrections directly in here, right? For Claude, you still have to type it in here. Now, if I go here, oh, this guy is still researching. Okay, let me see if I can open a new ChatGPT, right? So that I can ask it questions. So the guy is still doing research. Now, when I'm working with AI, let's say let's go to the prompt I wrote out. Okay, where is that prompt? Okay, yeah. So remember this prompt. I said, let's see what it does with this prompt directly. This is not following my process. As I said, you need to follow your CRISP framework, and then let's follow the process step by step, phase by phase, and work with AI. Now I'm saying, hey, just do the work, right? I'm telling it, hey, go ahead and do the work. So let's drop that let's use the thinking model. Thinking, hopefully it won't think that hard. Let me let me use the decide. Let's use auto, let it decide. All right. So spaced, let it go. Let's come to Claude. And while Claude is doing this, let's create a new chat, and paste, right? And oops, new chat, and paste. Let's see what it does. Now, while it's doing that, let me go and show you something else. When you're using AI, let me see if I can use a new chat. Let me duplicate this. When you're using AI like ChatGPT and stuff, so for ChatGPT, let me just show you something important. All right, let me come back up. So I'm talking to you guys directly now. It's important. What we've done now, I'm just giving you a demo, and we can go further and further. The prompt I just put in there, I want to see a model. I want to see it build a model, and let's compare the model, the mechanics of a model to our own mechanics, right? But remember, the thing is, financial modeling is not just about building the Excel. There's a whole lot of critical thinking that goes through it, right? You need to understand the industry deeper. You can do that with AI. You need to understand where the problems are in the industry. Do that with AI. You need to know what are the drivers in the industry. What drives that industry? You can do that with AI, right? And prompt AI, ask it questions. So you're working with this amazing personal assistant, right? So while it's doing this, let me, so yeah, what did I want to show you? Okay, so I wanted to show you, I lost my chain of thought. I'm looking at it, trying to see if it will finish. It's still doing deep research a bit. This was OpenAI. We said yes to all his questions, right? Yes, yes, yes. And it's trying to answer. Okay, that's fine. Let me just go in new chat. I know we asked Claude, I need to do a detailed model. So you see, it's done the detailed model, Access Bank, blah, blah, blah. So this is the answer to this. I need a detailed analysis, right? But where's the model? Where's the financial model? Let me ask it. So where is the detailed financial model? All right. Let's wait for it. Let's get it to do that. Now, before I go on, I want to show you what you need to do for your ChatGPT. If you're using ChatGPT, the system prompt, the backend prompt. You need to go to your image on the left-hand side of your ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, and then you go to settings. So go on the settings, you need to understand your settings, right? System settings, notification, personalization. Now, personalization is important. Here, you're basically giving it details as to how it should work. Custom instructions. Do you remember the CRISP framework where I had instructions? Remember this instructions? So this instruction side is you're telling AI how to work. How does AI work with you? How should it respond? So that's what you need to do at the back end. I click my image, I click settings, and the personalization. Here I have all my personal detailed information, reference saved memories. Are you saying should it reference saved stuff at the back end? I'm saying yes. Reference chat history, yes. You can say no, right? And then you have some advanced settings. Does it do web search? Yes. Does it do coding? Yes. Does it do canvas? You remember the canvas mode? Does it do advanced voice? Yes, right? So all of these modes are important. You decide how you want to work with it. Connectors are very important as well. Choose how AI connects to your source data. Is it going to connect to your Microsoft Teams? Is it going to connect to your Google Drive with all your data in your Google Drive? These are risky. Sometimes you can ask it to connect to your Gmail. If someone hacks into your system and sends a prompt, they can actually access your Gmail, and there's been some breaches there. But if you're an early adopter, of course, we can experiment, right? So you can connect to all your various data sources, right? SharePoint and stuff, right? Advanced settings, you can put developer mode. I always have developer mode on, so I have the latest technology, right? So when you do your connectors, your scheduling, well, ChatGPT can schedule or run again after it completes a task. So I can, for example, tell it, every Monday, I want you to produce the latest content on these 5 companies that I'm following, financial content. I can tell it that, right? Data controls. What controls should you have? Improve the mode for everyone. Go explore this stuff, right? Security, right? Once you've explored that, also explore, if I come here, personalization. What are the personalization bits? Okay, no, that's the same thing. Personalization. Explore, well, upgrade if you like, settings, personalization, and then you can create GPTs. That's the next thing. You can create your own GPT. How do you do that? So if I come in here, I can come to GPTs, right? And under GPTs, right? Under GPTs, I can see my GPTs. I've created some GPTs. Some people have created as well. If I come here and say finance, see what some other people have created. What are the top picks in finance? So you can see some people have created finance and economics, stock and crypto, blah, blah, blah. I have a financial modeling GPT that has all our processes and the way we work. You can only get that if you join the academy. You can't get that now. So, but you can create yours, right? How do you create yours? If I come here and click create at the top right, create, you create your own GPT, configure it and say it's your special GPT that does whatever it is you want it to do. Use the CRISP methodology to do deep instructions using CRISP. Conversation starters are typically what you want it, just summary of how people should use it. And then you make it public, right? You can put code interpreter, you can make the GPT public, you can choose what is the main model it's going to use, and you create your own GPT, right? Let's go back and see what our tools are doing. They're building stuff, error, running artifact, an error code while trying to run the generate artifact. So it couldn't generate the Excel. It's trying to generate the Excel and it's crashing, right? Unfortunate. Let's see what the research is still going on. Let's see what this, what was the other chat GPT that we did? Okay, this is it here. What did it do? We said, I need a detailed analysis. It wrote all this code. Okay, it did its analysis. I want the model. Where's the model? It has a model. Let's have a look at the model. So it has a model. Let's open it. Open. So let's have a look at the financial model. Okay, so this is what our AI's model looks like. Let's see, what is it? Let me double click. Okay, there's nothing in there. Ratios. Hey, what did he do? Create a template. I want a model, man, not a template. So you can see I'm not too impressed. I'm expecting a full-blown financial model. Can you do it or not? So I need to go back to my staff, which is AI, and say, look, man, I'm not impressed. Hey, I am not impressed with your financial model. Here is a sample of the sample to show you the quality of models I need. All right, so I can attach my own model, right? So let me see. Do I attach my model? Where did I save it? Okay, I can go to Google Drive. Let me go to Google Drive. I think I had the model in the demo data somewhere. No, I didn't have the model. So if I had the model there, I would have just dropped it for it. So, and then, but let's just say I'm not impressed with your financial model. Create a full-fledged 3-statement model. Let's see. I hope I don't hurt his feelings. Let's see what it says. Back to Claude. So Claude is trying to fix his problem. He said he had a problem, couldn't build a model. But that's not the key thing for you using model. You don't need it to build this exceptional model. But every single aspect of this model, it can do it for you. It can work with you. So let's assume you're doing a detailed analysis that requires one of the complex things in modeling is understanding timing. All right? Understanding timing and how to calculate timing. So let's assume you're building your model and you don't know how to model delay. So you're building a model and doing timing calculations, but you don't know how to model the calculation for delay between construction period and operations. How do I model delay, right? I know how to do that, but if you don't, then AI can help you augment your skills, right? So if I come back here and I just do another one, say, hi, I am building a model, building a financial model, a project finance model, right? Project finance model. I'm building, oh, let me just come here. Let's have a look at it clearer. So yeah, I'm building a project finance model, right? I need to program timing delays between construction and operations. I use flags to help with the calculations. Give me Excel formulas that can help me build this. So you need to know clearly how to ask questions, obviously. So I'm asking it to say, hey, can you help me with this? And let's see what it does, right? So it's considering, let it come back. And for me, that is it. Can you completely abdicate your responsibilities to AI? Absolutely not. Can AI significantly improve your modeling? Definitely. Can AI replace some aspects of your modeling engagement? Definitely. Can AI basically eventually replace everything about how you build models and how you become a financial modeling analyst? No, it can't. So AI can't do creative. One big thing AI can't do, right, is create something absolutely new. Let me give you an analogy, which I heard from somewhere. If you train AI, before I give you the analogy, I need you to understand two things. There is something called deterministic models and probabilistic models, right? When we build financial models, a lot of the content is deterministic. So which means it's straightforward. This and this times this plus this is deterministic, right? And we are using our own knowledge of standardized ways of building stuff. We understand accounting, we understand IFRS, we know those rules, right? And we're using those rules to build models. Those are deterministic. Probabilistic, the closer thing for us in modeling for probabilistic is when we are not too sure of certain inputs, then we need to use the historical analysis of those inputs and do a regression analysis. We do a deep regression analysis, and that regression analysis will give us standard deviations, and we can say up to 2 standard deviations, is what, 90-something% of the total population if it's a normally distributed population. Now I'm entering statistics, right? You need to know statistics as well. To be good at using AI and be good as a modeler, you need statistics. So if I do this regression, right, and I now get out a formula out of the regression, I will be able to use that in a Monte Carlo simulation, which will then use probabilities to determine my outputs. Now that probability is saying, there's a 70% chance of this, there's an 80% chance of that. That's how AI works. AI works by saying, if I type this word, hey, David, right? What percentage chance will it be that Rex here is the next thing after hey, David? It will calculate that. Based on the context of what I've asked, it will then calculate every single word is based on probability analysis. Every word, every sentence, based on this sentence, what's the next sentence, what's the next sentence? And it's doing that probability. Based on that probability, it's now using that to build your tools, to build your PowerPoint, to build this all probabilistic analysis, right? Not, which I can also call stochastic, not your deterministic. So it's a mixture between deterministic and probabilistic. You have that deterministic content, you understand the structure. This thing is using all the data in the world and the probability of what is best to answer your question. Together can be super powerful, right? But AI cannot generate new knowledge, brand new knowledge. Give you an example. If OpenAI had trained their AI with all the data up to 1900, so all the data in the world up to 1900, any knowledge after 1900, let's say the AI doesn't know. They train the AI. The question is, can the AI generate new knowledge after 1900? Can it do what Einstein did? And propound the theory of relativity. You get, so before 1900, there was no knowledge in the world about that. Can AI generate that based on the knowledge of the world? The answer is absolutely no, it can't. So AI can mix all, I call AI a repeatologist. That's my own word. I call it an exceptional repeatologist. It will repeat knowledge of the past, combine knowledge of the past, see correlations in the knowledge of the past, and then give you something beautiful. Can it give you something brand new? No, it can't. And that's what AGI is. So by the time it can, then we've entered AGI. But right now, I can say 95% of what anybody wants in this world is nothing completely new. It is still things in the past. So what you need to do is become an expert in modeling. An expert. Then you can use AI and you will have fun. Super fun. So let's have a look. What did this thing do? What did I ask it to do? Where was my question? Where was my prompt? I said, hi, building a project finance model, I need a program timing. Okay, timing. So what did it say? It said construction start date, good. Construction duration in months. These are our assumptions. Can you see that? Have an assumption of construction start date, construction duration, delay between construction and operations in months, ramp up period in months, 0 if none, right? Timeline, months, and stuff. See the inputs. Perfect. Why am I saying perfect? Because those are the exact inputs here, right? Construction start date, construction period in months, construction end date, delay in start of operations in months. And as you enter these inputs, the calculations update. All these calculations automatically update. Guess what, guys? This is your bonus. For those that have stayed up to this point, if you register for the Financial Modeling Academy, this is your bonus. And I'm going to go into that now and see how you can get this. This course is going to be a bonus, right? How to build this is super important. Now, look at our AI. It has told us these are our assumptions, right? Then it says construction flag. See the formula. And of course, you saw me doing that. I haven't done this before because I know these formulas. This is greater than or equal to EO month start construction minus 1 plus 1 times this. Can you imagine that? Let's have a look at our formula. What formula was this? This is construction flag. Okay, let's see. Construction flag. Construction period flag. No, not the, let me see. This is the start date. So it's used EO month. I have a more efficient way I did it. This not EO month, but let me see where the EO month. So the EO month is using is in the date manipulation. So if you look at this formula here, let me make it bigger. If you look at this formula here, right? When you get this course, EO month G, this is the idea. This is the idea that AI is using, right? So you can see that idea here. Can you see that? All right. This is EO month start construction date minus 1 plus 1. Can you see that? Minus 1 plus 1. Can you see that? So I am a domain expert. I know this stuff already. If you are not a domain expert, of course you can use AI and it will guide you through the process. It may take you longer, but you will learn, right? So this is the power of AI, guys. This is AI and financial modeling. You cannot avoid it. But please remember, you need to know this stuff yourself to a good level. Then when you bring AI in, it will just supercharge you. You'll be able to build models for clients like this, and you know they're correct, right? So you can see what it did is, instead of doing this as a separate calculation, it is adding both calculations into one formula. That's not efficient. I will train the AI and tell it, hey, AI, what we do, best practices, is you need to create flags and switches, flags and masks. So what we do in dBrown, you create the calculation that is a single calculation, which doesn't need to be repeated multiple times. And then you then create your flag. This is your flag. And your flag is simply your logical structure that says yes or no for certain things, right? So if for example, I say operations start, when does operation start? So if I come down here, operation period is, operation start date is this, delay in operations is 5 months. Let's say this, if say delay in operations 5 months, let's have a look at what that looks like. So delay in operations is 5 months. So if I come down here, operations start. When did operations start? If you go right, can you see this is when operations started? Operation starts in this period. Your construction period is, okay, so post-construction delay. Can you see the delay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the 5-month delay. Your construction ended here, but there was 5 months delay before your operation started. This 5 months costs a lot of money. And in a model, you just put that 5 months and you'll be able to see a massive the project will not work if you have that amount of delay. So you as a modeler can then come here and say, no, the delay is not 5 months, it's 2 months. So if you say 2 months, and then you come to your model, you see it updates. And that's what we're asking AI to help us with, isn't it? So here, if I come down to the left, oops, sorry, where is it? Where did operations start? Operations started, blah, 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 blah. Here, and can you see the 2 month delay? So this is the 2 month delay. This is the start of operations, and this is the operations period. So that's modeling in a nutshell. Our models are building our way, answering stuff, but I hope you get an understanding of how you as an analyst should model. Use AI for your modeling. Tell me in the chat. So type in the chat, what have you gained from this activity and this, how we do modeling and AI? And then we've asked AI a big question, and hey, build a model. The guy is still thinking, it hasn't built yet. Why? What's going on? I am waiting. Yeah, I wanted to build a model, but guess what? It built a model before, and you saw it wasn't really that good, but it continues to get better and better. Now, AI will eventually build a model to this particular level, and who knows, probably it's us that will build a custom AI to be able to build this kind of quality, right? This kind of qualitative models, which it will eventually do. Does that mean you're out of a job? Absolutely not. Just means you're going to be far more efficient, right? But if you don't already know how to build this, how will you supervise AI? How will you assess AI? You can't, right? You absolutely can't. So that's the risk, and that's what we must avoid. All right. So let me go back, and I want everyone to think about what you've learned so far. Type in the chat, type in the LinkedIn a summary of what you've learned so far. What is the key takeaway for you from this session? Key takeaway while I jump into more content. Type that while I jump in. I'll pause a bit before I continue, but type that out. What is your key takeaway from this? Key takeaway, what's it? Let me look at comments from people. And if you have any questions for me as well, we'll be happy to answer them while we continue. What's your key takeaway? Tell me, guys. All right. Let me see in the chat. What are people saying? This is fantastic. I learned how AI could be my executive assistant. For sure. Uchenna, that's great. So in a nutshell, AI cannot build a good model, right? At the moment, at least. No, AI cannot build the mechanics right now, Saeed. The mechanics to the standard that you know us for. It can't do that now, but it will eventually. And what I'm trying to tell you is that doesn't matter, because building the mechanics in Excel is not all a financial modeler does. It's one aspect and an important aspect too, right? So a key takeaway for someone else, who was the name? A key takeaway was CRISP. Your key takeaway, the acronym CRISP. Okay, you like CRISP, all right? Okay. Key takeaway for John is I have a long way to go. John, you just became is it AFM? By the way, you need to put AFM in your name, right? I have a long way to go and I want to get there. Key takeaway for Elizabeth is financial modeling isn't just about Excel and spreadsheet. It involves, thank you, Elizabeth. I love you. It involves your feedback. It involves deep critical thinking. It does, yes. I need to become better in using AI for sure. We all do. We all need to get better at using AI. Yeah. Human knowledge is still very essential to check the accuracy of AI and to work with AI. So AI is just a colleague, right? To work with AI. Eventually you build an agent that can do a lot of stuff, but you must supervise it, right? Don't want to get sued when your AI staff messes up. A refresher on using AI for financial model. Actually used it as an accountability study partner in preparing for AFM. Nice, Elufemi. You should tell us about your experience. So there's a lot I could go through, but I've gone way beyond the time. I've learned what it takes to be an excellent modeler. Very good. Thank you for that. All right, so I'm going to go back into our slides now. Let me jump back into the slides. And so Financial Modeling Academy. We created this academy. I mean, we've have 20 years experience as D. Brown Consulting as financial modelers. I have about 26, 27 years experience there. And what we're trying to do with the Financial Modeling Academy is teach you the skill sets on building world-class models. So you are very confident regardless of the industry. Did you see a list of 60 models I listed out, 60 types of models? Once you learn the fundamentals, you have enough fundamental skill to be able to go and learn the rest, right? But you need to learn the fundamentals. And here we created the Financial Modeling Academy with the Financial Modeling Institute to basically help you become a world-class financial modeler, right? And what we did there is with the Financial Modeling Institute, we were able to crash the cost of making you a world-class financial modeler, significantly crash it. So the whole idea of the Financial Modeling Institute is want to train 1 million financial modeling analysts. Let me pause this.
Hi, I'm Ian Schnur. Except.
Yeah, so you've already watched this video. Okay. Sorry for all the noise. That was all background noise. So anyway, the Financial Modeling Academy, as we said, it's a course, online course. You're going to do every week. You're going to get content. We're going to go through the content with you for the first 6 to 7 weeks. By that time, you're going to learn how to build models our way. So a big part of our way is we take the financial. You saw that Access Bank. We'll break it down, restructure the accounting financials into more a financials for a financial modeling financial, which focuses on drivers and not IFRS. So if I see cost of sales, what is driving cost of sales? Now, anything that is not, let's say sales drives cost of sales, okay? But there's some part of cost of sales that are not driven by sales directly. For example, the depreciation on property, plant, and equipment. That is driven by how much wear and tear do we have on property, plant, and equipment. You need to remove that from your cost of sales. You have to remove items and check every single item in cost of sales. How are you driven? So your line items are based on drivers. So you learn how to identify drivers, restructure your financials based on drivers, build your model, and then finalize your model and have a professional structure for how you build your models. We'll teach you that first. Once you're done with that, we'll then remove your modeling hat, put on exam hat. We're now going to take you through step by step on how to, and that's this step-by-step guide, step-by-step on how to build a model for the exam. And in your exam, it's going to be a question that will give you where you have historical financials and you have to build a model from zero, from a blank spreadsheet. Full detailed model. That's your exam. You build that full detailed model from a blank spreadsheet and you have 4 hours to do that. To help you with that, we have a step-by-step guide. We have a mock exam, set of mock exams, about 8 mock exams you're going to do with us. And then we then have a live mock 2 weeks before any of the scheduled exams from the Financial Modeling Institute. When you follow that process and do the exam, most likely you're going to pass. Then you have 1 year access to our platform and you're going to join 2 communities. One community for D Brown, another community from the Financial Modeling Institute. We'll continue to groom you and then eventually you either get career advancements, promotion, or if you're a freelancer, you should start having modeling gigs on Upwork, on Fiverr, building models for companies all over the world. That's the hope. Now, let me show you something I did with AI. I asked Google to do something fun. Now, let's see what it did. I asked Google, I sent this prompt to Google. So it's a new platform in Google. What's it called? It does cartoons. It creates like a cartoon or a pitch book for you, a cartoon book for you. So look at what I asked. This is the prompt, and you can use this prompt too. So you're going to use this prompt on Google's Gemini 2.5 Flash model. 2.5 Flash. See the prompt. Using an anime art style, create a story about a young graduate who has just completed our Financial Modeling Academy and is now building models, solving problems for a global clientele. Life is now transformational and he can support his parents and family while living and working from a home in Africa. So this was my prompt. I copied it, pasted it into Gemini, and let me show you what Gemini did, what Gemini built. Amazing stuff it built. So I posted it on Gemini. Where's the Gemini stuff I did? I think this one. So I pasted it there. You can see the prompt. All right. After pasting the prompt there, then it says, I've written a story for a young graduate about his journey to financial freedom and how he's using his skills to support his family while working from home in Africa. I hope you enjoyed the reading. So this is the book it built. Let's have a look at it. So it says, okay, let me ask you to play it itself. Let's listen. I don't know if you can hear it. Can you hear it? Let me see my guys on the back end. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? I know we've overshot our time. Sorry, guys. But let me see. You can type in the chat. Let me know if you can hear. Did you hear that? Okay. You can't hear. Okay, because I stream with audio. I think I shared audio. Let me stop my video. Okay, so let's see. Audio. I think I did share audio. Let me try again. Listen.
Oluwaseun and the global model. Oluwaseun sat at his desk, the hum of his laptop a familiar tune. On the screen, a complex web of numbers and charts danced, a financial model for a company thousands of miles away. From his small room in Lagos, he was building bridges to the world. It wasn't long ago that the future felt like a locked door. He remembered the long nights of studying, the worry in his parents' eyes as they sacrificed to send him to the Financial Modeling Academy. Every line of code, every spreadsheet formula was a promise to them. The day he graduated was a blur of joy, a certificate on a screen, a virtual handshake, and the proud tears of his mother and father. "You have done well, my son," his father had said, his voice thick with emotion. The first email from a global firm felt like a dream. "Your work is exceptional," it read. "We would like to offer you a contract." His heart, the work was demanding. The first email from a global firm felt like a
Okay, I'm told that you can't hear, so let me just share again, and so you can listen to the simple prompt and the simple thing that AI did, which I think is amazing. Let's share my screen one more time. All right, so here it is. I remember the prompt I showed you. So just to repeat, this is where we're going to close with. Before I show you what AI ended with, let me quickly go to, where is this? Oops, sorry. I think people have stayed till the end, so I want to show you a gift first before I show you what AI did, the beautiful stuff AI did. So as promised, I promised you a gift, right? So let me give you that gift. So if you stay till the end and you register, how do you register? So if you register, I'm going to give you the project finance timing course. So there's a timing course that teaches you timing and how to create S-curves, and then how to do all those timing flags and everything in project finance, right? That's going to be your gift if you register for Financial Modeling Academy today. So the Financial Modeling Academy, this is your gift, mastering timing calculations in project finance models. Yeah, so you get this if you register today, only if you register today. Mastering timing in project finance models, we sell this for about $50. So you're getting that for free, right? Now, how do you register? There are 3 ways. So there's a special scholarship by the Financial Modeling Institute. So I've already explained the Financial Modeling Academy is a full academy that gives you the fundamentals of financial modeling. We're going to teach you how to use AI with financial modeling. We're going to then give you access to write an exam. The exam you write is with the Financial Modeling Institute. The exam alone is $725. The course we're giving you is worth $1,200. It's solid course. Every week you get content for 8 weeks. You're also going to do a prep. You're going to, then after you've learn to build a model, you're going to learn how to pass the exam by going through a step-by-step guide, give you the secrets of how to build a model for the exam very fast. You have some primer courses. If you register today, you're going to get our Excel primer course and a modeling primer course immediately. And then you also soon will get access to 2 communities, one by the Financial Modeling Institute and another one by ourselves. Then during the course itself, you're going to have accountability partners, and I'm going to do a session for you every weekend. I'm going to kind of go through how you mentor you, answer your questions as you go through the program every week. Everything is worth $2,871. If you are a student, you get it for $150. Students, it's very hard for you to get the student access because you have to be through an institution. You have to be an undergrad through an institution that we accredit, or you have to be a student of CFA, ACCA, and if you're in Nigeria, ICANN, or Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers. You can prove, they will have to validate that you're a student. But if you're not a student, you're a professional, you're just someone that wants to move into finance, you're not an undergrad student or professional body student, this $2,871, you get it for $347. $347, all this value for $347. Now, this is only for Africans, resident in Africa. So people resident in Africa, which means anyone resident in all the 54 countries in Africa except South Africa. South Africa has been excluded from this, unfortunately. But everywhere else in Africa, if you're a resident, you can get this whole thing, plus the AI course internally for $347. Now, if you're outside Africa, you get the whole thing for $972. $972, you do this $725 exam, $1,200 course, everything for $972. All right. Now, if you register today, you're getting this gift, Mastering Timing Calculations in Project Finance Models. So if you can share the link, please, everyone, share the link on the chat. Just go to Financial Modeling Academy to Google it. You'll be able to see it. Go to our website, see Financial Modeling Academy, and then you get that. So our alumni are kind of jealous a bit, saying, what's the gift for them? Don't worry, alumni, we're coming to you soon. Don't worry. Yes? What you can do is help promote this to others. So that is the Financial Modeling Academy. Register today to get your gifts, and please spread the word so that we can build people's competence. Now to the AI, the final prompt I gave AI. I asked it to, using an anime art style, create a story about a young graduate Financial Modeling Academy that passed, right? And this is what the AI did. So let's have a play of it and we will close with that. So the AI, after prompting it, to my prompt, it created this book. So let's listen. I think you should be able to listen now. I'm telling you to read out this storybook it created. It looks amazing. Let's listen.
Oluwaseun and the Global Model. Oluwaseun sat at his desk, the hum of his laptop a familiar tune. On the screen, a complex web of numbers and charts danced, a financial model for a company thousands of miles away. From his small room in Lagos, he was building bridges to the world. It wasn't long ago that the future felt like a locked door. He remembered the long nights of studying, the worry in his parents' eyes as they sacrificed to send him to the Financial Modeling Academy. Every line of code, every spreadsheet formula was a promise to them. The day he graduated was a blur of joy, a certificate on a screen, a virtual handshake, and the proud tears of his mother and father. "You have done well, my son," his father had said, his voice thick with emotion. The first email from a global firm felt like a dream. "Your work is exceptional," it read. "We would like to offer you a contract." His heart pounded with a mix of excitement and disbelief. This was it, the first step on the path he had forged for himself. The work was demanding, the deadlines tight, but he was no longer just working for himself. Late one night, as he fine-tuned a complex algorithm, His mother came in with a steaming bowl of jollof rice. "Eat, my son," she said. "Your brain needs fuel." He presented the final model on a video call. The client, a stern-looking man in a suit, listened intently. When Oluwaseun finished, the man smiled. "This is brilliant, Oluwaseun. Truly brilliant. You've exceeded our expectations." With his first payment, he bought his parents a new refrigerator. It was a small thing, but to them, it was everything. They stood in the kitchen, staring at the shiny appliance, their faces a mixture of wonder and gratitude. "You didn't have to," his father said, though his eyes told a different story. Soon, the changes were everywhere. A fresh coat of paint on the walls, a new roof to keep out the rain, and a comfortable chair for his mother to relax in. His work had not just transformed his life, it had transformed their home. The greatest joy, however, was in sharing his knowledge. He began to teach his younger cousin, showing her the basics of financial modeling. He saw in her eyes the same hope and determination he once had. He was building more than models. He was building a legacy. Oluwaseun looked out his window at the bustling city below. From his home in Africa, he was connected to the world, a global citizen in a local space. He had found his place, and in doing so had created a new world for his family, one built on hard work, dedication, and the power of a dream.
And that is it, my people. I think I was so impressed. I mean, just a simple prompt, right? But of course, you need to know what platform, what model to use, right? So that was me using the Flash, I think. Yeah, Flash. So Gemini Flash is the one that creates this. So depending on the prompt. So you've learned prompt engineering, you've learned about financial modeling, you've learned about financial modeling and artificial intelligence and how to use them together. You've learned that financial modelers are not just about mechanics. There's a lot more to financial modeling, critical thinking, and the rest. You've learned that AI is going to become your superpower. It's going to be your super companion, and you'll be able to significantly move forward with AI. But you've also learned that you cannot move forward with AI if you yourself are not a domain expert. So to become a domain expert, you need to join us in the Financial Modeling Academy, which is starting up very soon. Send this link to your various friends and stuff so you can join us there and become the world-class financial modeler that you can be. Thank you very much for joining us in this webinar. We have another one coming up next week, so make sure you join. And yes, looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Looking forward to seeing you in the academy. And congratulations to all our AFM holders, all our alumni who have passed their exams and are now advanced financial modelers. Thanks, everybody. Please share in the chat your biggest learning. I know you shared it before, but share again your biggest learning, and let's continue the conversation in the LinkedIn chat. See you, everybody. Thank you, and thanks to everybody at the back end in D Brown Consulting for the wonderful session. I know I went over, but I just can't stop teaching, right? Take care, guys. See you in class. Hello and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to talk to you take you through the roadmap for this course. What to expect, what to watch out for. And in taking you through this roadmap, the very first thing I want you to do is load everything I'm going to discuss into your calendar. So down below where you're watching this video, you're going to see a link. And once you click that link, you're going to add everything into your calendar. It's more than 20 items that you need to add to your calendar. So make sure you click on that link and add to your calendar. So you have an automated calendar, whether you're using an Apple, iPhone, you can add it to your calendar on your phone, add it to your calendar on Outlook, Google, Gmail, whatever it is, Yahoo. So make sure you do that. Yep, make sure you do that. Now, what are you expecting? What's the roadmap for this program? So the very first thing is this welcome week. So the welcome week is meant for you to kind of take advantage of the fact that you're going to go through a very detailed program and you need to plan. So this is a planning week. You're planning for the program. You're taking your time to say, okay, I need to spend a minimum amount of hours. And I recommend you spend at least 8 hours every week on this program, right? So you're going to get content every single week. The beginning of the week, you get content. You get content for the week. And then in the weekend, on a Saturday, I'm going to come live every single week to discuss with you and see what your challenges are.
Make sure you click on the links to ask questions. And then once you ask questions on the platform, we will able to, I'll come up on a Saturday and then answer those questions live for you every Saturday. So 8 weeks program. So I will be on you 8 Saturdays, 7 Saturdays. I'll tell you about the last Saturday actually. So the first week is the welcome week. And then the next week, you're going to start off with module 1. So module 1 is going to take you through a structured model structure. How do you structure your model? Everything around structuring your model is the first week. So you learn how do you structure your model? How do you basically create a guide sheet? How do you create all the necessary documentation for building that model, right? Gathering all your assets together to build the model. That's going to be your first week. In your second week, you're going to learn how to restructure the historical financials of a real company. What do we mean by that? You've planned out your model in the first week, and that's module 1. You've planned out your model, and then module 2, which is week 3, module 2 is week 3, you're just going to learn how to restructure your profit or loss account. In building corporate models, you have to understand that the historical data needs to be restructured. So you're going to restructure it so that you convert what is a financial statement, right? Profit or loss, into more like a modeling statement. I'll call it modeling statement, where you're looking for the drivers. What is driving every line item of your profit or loss account? You're going to look at the historicals and then restructure it. So you're going to learn a lot about how you restructure in a way that helps you predict, right? So that's what you'll learn in week 3, which is module 2. You're going to learn that in module 2. Module 3, after restructuring the profit or loss account, you're going to learn how to restructure the balance sheet. So those are the two big financial statements, right? Profit or loss and balance sheet. So module 3, which is week 4 of the program, you're going to learn how to restructure the balance sheet. You're going to go through every line item of your balance sheet, equity, debt, your trade receivables, trade payables, current assets, current liabilities. And you're going to learn how to restructure this in a way that allows you to predict, right? You're predicting for the future. That's what financial modeling is all about. So you learn how to restructure so that your predictions make sense. You've restructured your balance sheet. You've restructured your profit or loss account. You've understood the structure of a financial model in the last 3 modules. Then you go into module 4. Module 4 now looks at those restructured financials that you built and identifies the drivers. What are those individual drivers and what assumptions can we now use to go forward in the future? So you're going to build out those drivers and then use those drivers as the main driver for prediction for the future and then generate assumptions. That's what you're going to do in module 4. Yes, you're going to generate those assumptions. Now, after you generate those assumptions, module 4, which is now week 5 of the program, you're then going to go through the process of mechanics. So module 5 is mechanics. You're going to learn the mechanics of building a model. And that's a lot of what people do. People jump to the mechanics, but you have to do the other modules first to understand how those mechanics now fit in. So you're going to build the mechanics, understand how to build schedules, all the different schedules, and some call it schedules. Schedules. You're going to learn how to build those schedules, and then building those schedules, every single driver for line items going up, going down, and then you learn how to build the schedules and then drivers again for you use the drivers to kind of build the line items for your balance sheet and your P&L, and then how does that link to your cash flow statement? And guess what? You then have a 3 statements model. So end of module 5, you have a real solid 3 statement model, which is your financial model, your corporate model. Then week 7, which is module 6, you're going to basically go through the process of visualization. How do we now visualize this data? How do we put it in a way that our consumers, which is your management, can consume that data? And then how do we do evaluation? So you're going to learn how to do evaluation. You've now built your 3 statements model. What can we use it for? We use it to value companies and stuff, and you'll be able to use that valuation going forward. So that is your module 6, which is week 7. So by week 7, you've learned everything you need to know about 3 statement modeling, financial modeling, corporate models, understanding assumptions and drivers, and you have your solid model properly formatted professionally. That is your module 6 in week 7. So repeat, week 1, you go do your week. You basically, the welcome week, planning everything. Module 1, which is week 2, you're then learning, okay, how do you structure? What is the model structure, the guide model guide sheet, understanding everything around how that works. Then you have your week 3, where you're learning how do you restructure the profit or loss account. Then the next week, which is week 4, you learn how to restructure the balance sheet. Then week 5, you learn how to generate assumptions and drivers and everything for how you build a model. And then week 6, you're going to learn model computation, all the model computation and mechanics for how you now take those drivers and then build your detailed schedules and stuff, the mechanics of the model. And then week 7, you've now built all of this. Week 7 is where you're learning the visualizations. How do you now present this data and how do you do a valuation, a simple DCF valuation, right? Yeah, discounted cash flow valuation. How do you build that into your model and say, okay, what's the value of this company? Now, part of week 7 as well is you're going to learn how to update your model. You know, every year you get new audited accounts. How do you now update that in the model? So we're going to deliberately give you data that's already old, and then you now have new data, and how do you now update your model? So that's what you'll do in week 7. Now, week 8 is you've now finished building your model. You know everything about building corporate finance models, risk statement models. We're going to start polishing you for the exam, because guess what? The Financial Modeling Institutes are partners to this program, and they're going to accredit you. They're going to find out whether or not you really do know how to build financial models. So we're going to hand you over to the Financial Modeling Institute and register you for the exams. So you're going to be registered for the exams, and we're not leaving you there. We're going to take you through a step-by-step guide on how you build a model in exam conditions. Because guess what? You're going to get a list, you're going to get an exam script from the Financial Modeling Institute, which is historical financials. And you now need to use that historical financials and build a 3-statement model from scratch. That's your exam. You need to do that in 4 hours. So we're going to take you through a step-by-step guide in week 8. Step-by-step guide on how you build a model from scratch in the exam conditions that you're going to be in. Now, that's week 8. You've learned that. Now, during week 8, we're also going to register you with the Financial Modeling Institute for whenever it is you want to write the exams. Now, don't be scared. You can write the exams immediately after the program, after we've taught you how to build models, or you can write the exams a couple of months after. It depends on you. But you need to tell us, and we'll register you with the Financial Modeling Institute. So that's after week 8. Then, of course, you write your exams and you become an advanced financial modeler accredited by the Financial Modeling Institute. And you have full 1 year of access to the content. Now, remember, during this entire 8-week process, I'm giving you live Q&As every single week, right? So every single week you have live Q&As going. But there's one more important thing, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. You need to be accountable. You need to do the work. Every single week, you need to be present and do the work. And to help you with that, I advise you get an accountability partner. Now, I'm going to tell you in the next lesson how you get an accountability partner to be accountable and to make sure that, look, you are really doing the work needed to become a world-class advanced financial modeler with a designation from the Advanced Financial Modeling Institute, the AFM designation. So, looking forward to seeing you in class, and that is your roadmap for this program.